What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of March 29th through April 4th of 2021. Brian here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Truly appreciate you all so much for joining me. If you haven't become a member on the site, please become a member at fixedairmoon.com for daily, weekly sun and rising horoscopes, tarot show, cool community, all that good stuff. And you get this info much more in depth, and we talk and I answer questions or whatever comes up. We'll just a community. It's cool. It's a good time. All right. Well, this week is definitely an empowering week. I think there's a lot of beautiful astrology that we're looking at. Saturn's making really nice aspects to Venus, the Sun, the North Node. Venus and the Sun are making good aspects to the North Node in Gemini. So there's a lot of really good empowering aspects of our world, and we have to take authority for them with Saturn here. Saturn's like, hey, look, do you want these nice connections? Do you want to feel like you truly you? And do you want to go into a better place? And we have to really own that. We have to take authority. We have to have the integrity to be true to ourselves, be true to our identity. The ego shifts all the time. And I think that's what is a powerful point here with this sextile triangle that's taking place in cardinal, fixed, mutable. It's got the whole bunch, the whole group of modalities in it. So we're starting things, there's changes taking place, but there's also certain aspects that we want to hold on to. We don't have to give everything away when change comes, but what aspects do not empower us anymore? And I think that it's that authority in your own life to go into this year that we're in now, to grab the things that you really want for yourself. Hold on to those. Empower yourself through those things. Drop the bullshit in a lot of ways. It's not so much just do everything over and over and over again, right? That is, if you do everything over and over again and you don't get the results that you're looking for, the happiness you desire, the empowerment you desire, the connections or the relationships, that's insanity, right? So you don't want to be insane and go through these cycles over and over again. What are you being called towards? And with Aries, it's very instinctual. You almost don't have to think. And with a falled out Mercury with Neptune, it's hard to think. Although that Mercury will ingress into Aries by this weekend, which is great. I think that with so much fire and cardinal fire, especially with the mind moving in there, instead of being kind of lost in dream world of Pisces, not being able to sort of analytically put things together, you're going to be able to define exactly those dreams or exactly those visions and start to really intellectually or communicatively put those out there to people, to put those out there to yourself. Maybe that's the most important thing with all this Aries sign. How are you communicating with yourself? Are you empowering yourself? Are you talking yourself up? I think maybe Saturn's saying, hey, you should be a hype man for yourself this week. Hype yourself up. Feel good. Connect to the things that make you feel truly you. Aries and Aquarius can be the most independent signs. And yes, Aquarius does represent the people, but it's the individuals that are a part of the collective. And I think that, that's definitely a theme that's going on with the astrology is, how can you be an individual? How can you make the changes in your life to do what you want? It's so backwards, right? We've been so trained and engraved to do what we're told, to follow these rules, to you name it. We're just trained to do it. And we have been since birth, and it's not our fault. I'd still do it too. I follow rules. I'm not some badass rebel that just doesn't, just does whatever he wants. I try my best to do what empowers me the most. And I, would encourage everybody to try their best to do that. There's certain rules in life that you just have to make for yourself. And that's part of being a trailblazer. That's part of being a pioneer, which is Aries as well. And this second decan, or decan, however you want to call it, of Aries is the Sun. And the Sun comes to its full, powerful exaltation point at 19 degrees of Aries, which we're not quite going to get to this week. But we're in this powerful place, especially where the Sun's at right now, where we can illuminate our ego in a powerful and constructive manner to make changes in our environment, to make changes in the things close to us, whether it's groups of people, whether it's just within yourself, and really stepping into what you want to move into, what you want to pioneer. Start those things. It's a beautiful time for taking the authority to connect to a life that you want. Now, it's not always going to be this way this year. I mean, this is like, I look at this astrology with all the planets direct, and I'm like, it doesn't get much better than this, especially as Mercury comes into Aries. You want to, if your mind has not been in it, if you've been feeling a little cloudy, this is the last week of that. And it's going to go straight into go time with so much Aries energy and an Aries new moon next week. So it's great. And we'll go through the charts here. Monday, which of course is yesterday. I'm a little late getting these out, and I apologize for that, but time wasn't this Capricorn's friend yesterday, but I did what I could. So Monday, Sun+Venus, 9-10 degrees. They're right next to each other. Really, the Venus is right behind the Sun. We want to define our relationships. We want to define what feels good for ourselves. We got to start to do those things, whatever it is. And it could definitely be the relationship to ourself. Coming off that Libra full moon, which was extremely powerful, and mixed in Saturn and all that good stuff. I mean, you got to take justification for what you want when it comes to relationships, when it comes to values and what makes you feel good. So there's definitely an illumination of those things. And, we can't see Venus in a lot of ways because it's behind the Sun. So how are we, channeling that energy, even though it's not just, we can't look up at the morning or the evening star and be like, oh, there's Venus, making us feel good. You kind of have to do this from within, from your soul, from your heart, even with the Sun. So what's making your heart illuminate your drive and your passion is something important that we start the week off with, and we get Mercury, Neptune, and Chiron's right in the mix. So Mercury, Neptune too this can either be extreme confusion, cloudy, muddied waters, or this is you really getting the next level of spiritual attunement, which with the Sun and Venus passing Chiron part of that full moon in Libra, all the 8s in the chart, there was definitely karma that kind of got dissolved. We moved into the next tier of a lot of ego wounds. And I think that with Mercury, Neptune, it's you're either spiritually very receptive and you're not, being spelled one way or another, except, trusting in the divine to guide you into your truth. And, opening your mind to more about what's possible and stop the limitations. But it can also, go the other way with the great duality of Pisces, where people can feel very off, very confused, very muddy, unsure, having projections from the world, really take them into a strange sort of confined space. Pisces also rules institutions. Neptune does too. So people can be in very weird institutional places within their own mind right now, feeling, locked up, when it's how locked up are we? How locked up are we? We have choices, and we can empower ourselves to push forward in new ways right now. That's one of the most powerful things of where we're at. With Saturn here on Monday, it made all the, it's getting ready to do Tuesday while I'm filming this. It's sextile Venus, so we'll get to that chart in a minute. And the moon is also making a square to Pluto. So yesterday was an interesting day. There was a lot of I think, taking justification for the life you want and sort of having that integrity and that responsibility to do it, to move forward in that direction. Saturn kind of wants, I feel like Saturn really wants to give us a gift. Saturn almost wants to be Jupiter this week at 11 degrees, which is a pretty spiritually connected master degree, and Jupiter at 22, and making great aspects, about to trine off with the North Node. So there's certain things in our life that have to be sort of toppled over and addressed, that are taking us out of our own sort of justification or our own beauty or the harmony in our life, that we need to reach deeper inside to go higher, and use the Aries energy to push forward with those things that empower us, that make us feel like we're pioneering a new direction for ourselves, for the connections we want. And I feel like Saturn really does want to give us a gift here, but Saturn is not going to give us the gift unless you take authority and put in some work and define. And, that's one thing that Aries is good at. Aries will just define what something is. It'll just do it. It's instinctual. It doesn't even want to think about it. And that's why Aries can not think things through. They can just jump right in and try and save the day or start something fresh. Like, there's a lot of that. And with Mercury and Neptune, it's almost like you're either divinely guided to those things to step in, or you have no idea what you need to step into to live a better life right now, and you're super confused. And I know that that's difficult and, probably a little harsh to hear. But taking that authority to start this week off, taking a minute to come back to yourself, ask God, ask yourself, where are you defining certain aspects of your life, and the people and the connections, the relationships, the money, the values? What makes you feel good? And why do you, triggering question, why do you put your energy into things that you don't value? Monday starts us off sort of in that direction, but again, it's pretty beautiful astrology with the sextile triangle that we start the week off to the Sun and Venus in Aries, with Saturn in the North Node. Like, it's a destiny shot. Like, big things can happen when you empower yourself, when you move out of wounds with Chiron and that full moon, when you grab a hold of who you're being called to be by something bigger, or even just what you're feeling, and you just instinctually act on that and do those things. This is where we start opening up big doors. We start going into new directions. We start making changes with North Node, Gemini. We start, doing the things that are actually stimulating to our heart, our soul. And I think that that's something that kicks off the week in a beautiful way, but at the same time, it gets a little interesting with the square to Pluto. Like, it's almost like emotionally we know some things in life just have to get kicked over so that we can at least, figure out what parts of it we want to pick back up and stack back together in our life. And, is it part of the mountain we want to climb? Come to Tuesday, today, we get that exact Venus and Saturn sextile. It's also still really close to making that, that sextile triangle that's going on here. So the sun's also 1 degree away. The sun comes into that second decan, that sun ruled decan. So the sun is so happy here. So it's like the more you empower yourself, the more you take charge for yourself, the relationships, the Venus stuff, what feels good, what makes you feel comfortable, define those things and go for it. And Saturn's like, you have to do this. You kind of have to do it for yourself, and you kind of have to do it with the right people. So it's not just about you with Aries season. Like, we have a lot of Aquarius, we have Saturn. What part of society do you want to fit into? What part of the world do you want to be in? And are you ready to just go that way because you're feeling really pulled to do so? And it's going to be better. It's going to be more stimulating. It's going to be, a change, which it's good to start a change. So we have mutable, cardinal, fixed in this sextile triangle. It's all, we have it all. It's like we need to start a lot. Clearly, there's things that we can always start, that we can always improve, that we can always go in that direction. But there's also aspects that we need to hold on to. We need to connect to certain aspects, certain people. There's certain, not everything just gets toppled over. Like, we don't have to give everything away to go in a better direction. In fact, it's more internalized and either mentally or instinctually understood of the right connections, the right people, the right truth, and I think it's about pioneering a truth that's right for you and illuminating that and making it part of your core values and making it part of like exactly what is going to make you feel you moving forward into this week and not holding back. Mercury comes off Neptune, so there is a little bit of, I would say, I think that that's a beautiful conjunction. It just depends on where you're at. Like, there's so much duality within Pisces and Neptune. Neptune can be such a ruthless, sort of foggy planet that kind of demises a lot, but it can also be such a spiritually attuned planet. So you have to kind of like, pull out the meter of where you are at in life right now and be like, wow, how's my mind doing? That Neptune can either show you all the magic that you're looking for and you can find the empowerment to shine in that, and like this big spiritual sort of attunement comes in, or you could be in a really weird place, and that doesn't mean that you're not spiritual enough or any of that. It's just, how is it affecting you, and are you able to kind of come back and ground? There is not a lot of Earth in the chart, minus Pluto and Uranus, so we're in this, fire, water, air place right now for a lot of this week until we get that moon in Capricorn, which will make the third quarter square by the end of the week. It's just, we do want to come back to Earth in a lot of ways so that we can define, so that we can figure things out. And if you're out there, can't understand, it's this Mercury at negative 14 degrees in Pisces. But at the same time, it can be extremely creative. So there could be extreme channeling, extreme creative abilities coming through. How are you going to, use that energy for your benefit, for what you want to move it into that direction for? Very open heart. I would say that the mind and the heart could be extremely in alignment, and you could be more clear than ever before right now in a lot of aspects of life. If you're being true to your truth, and defining the direction of life that you want to go into, that you've probably been pulled into for years now, if not, at least months, but most likely years. Were you following the call, or are you gun shy? And Saturn's like, don't be shy. You got to go stand tall, take authority to get to the top of your mountain. And with Aquarius, it's like, you got to go invent the life you want here. You got to go make it better. Aquarius always wants to make things better. But sometimes it's got to scrap it, crumple up the paper and throw it away. Start over. That moon comes into Scorpio and it gets a little weird. It's going to oppose Uranus, quincunx the Sun and Venus, and square Saturn. So, Tuesday's pretty amazing. It's got some really nice aspects going on, but like emotionally, you can get caught in a really weird, stirred up, shaken up pot of emotion. Really, like all these different things, like whoa, pulling you in one direction. Like from that full moon, you could really be feeling the emotions on this Tuesday from that full moon and going extremely introspective. And with Uranus, like rocking your internal boat of like, what is this world that I want to live in? And it could definitely be a lot of questions, but it can also accelerate you to so much like understanding and maybe even finding boundaries, because it does make a T-square to Saturn from Uranus and Saturn that are still in square, and then the moon and Uranus in opposition. Like, again, it kind of comes back to like taking authority for your emotional, well-being, for your psychology, for the deeper aspects of the life that you want to be a part of. And it's very rebellious energy. You get Aquarius and Scorpio in a square, like, and Uranus in the mix. There's almost like this need to rebel from something on Tuesday. And it's like, what needs to kind of die off with a Scorpio moon so that you can set new boundaries with people? It could definitely be a people day. Maybe there's just unique new boundaries and unique new, ways to connect or disconnect from aspects of life that aren't giving you sort of the emotional investment payout that you've been looking for. So definitely brings up a lot of people on Tuesday. It's weird too with the quincunx to the Aries energy that's going to go through. It's like you could definitely feel very pulled to do what you have to do to illuminate the life you want. But at the same time, it's like you might be obsessing and kind of holding on to something. And I think that Uranus opposition is really going to kind of force like, no, you can't hold on to that because you don't even truly value that within yourself. What do you, it might make you question and wonder like, why am I holding on to that? And Saturn's, Saturn moon's definitely not the most fun, square in the world, but emotional responsibility for the life that you want to connect to, for the people in life that you want to merge and make a great connection with. So I think it's about finding a lot of people, especially with Venus, the sun, like people come into play right now, like people that are empowering you. It's people that there's equal merger of power. Finding those people and taking authority with them, not over, not, against or whatever, but really breaking out into a place of boundaries set so that everybody in your circle in life can be in power. And, if you have to detach from people that don't want to play equal power games, so be it. That could be something that comes up as well. Come to Wednesday, Mercury Day. Mercury's scooting here, coming to 24 degrees of Pisces, so getting ready to ingress into Aries. And then we have Venus and the North Node in exact sextile, Sun, Saturn in exact sextile, and it's the final day with Uranus at 8 and Chiron at 8 degrees. So today this Wednesday is very interesting, being a Mercury day, midweek. Major authority, you just want to define what you want to do, and you could think about it all you want, but why don't you just do the things that make you feel good? Even Venus at 24 degrees is a 6, which is a very Venusian number. Venus and the Sun are together. Why are we not taking action and defining the life that we want that makes us feel good? Go in that direction. It just takes integrity. It just takes you being true to yourself, being, sort of on your game, your path, your frequency within the collective with Saturn in Aquarius. But you have to put the work in. Saturn's always going to make you put the work in, but I feel like there's just amazing payouts that can come this week with that sextile triangle. It's really nice. I really enjoy that sextile triangle a lot. The moon is going to still be finishing up in Scorpio. It's going to square over to Jupiter. So this definitely gets into our, beliefs, our, what do we really believe? And are we ready to go into a deeper sort of envisionment of what we can have and the power that we can come out with? So this is if you really want to rise up, you got to make sure that when you rise up, you have at least the belief in self and your individuality and where you want to go, and make that connection. And if you can make that connection within yourself, boom, this is a really powerful day. And I think that Jupiter can open up so many doors if you're taking authority for your emotional psychology and rising up with all the power that you've had to feel maybe over the beginning of this week, taking all that, alchemizing all of that, and just really coming out strong, coming out with a lot of power. It's also going to sextile Pluto. So, talk about a rise up day. Wednesday is you want to rise up and maybe open up some of the greatest doors and gifts in your life. You have to do something different, and you have to make sure, because Aquarius and Jupiter is you kind of got to look in a different direction for the gift. It's not just the normal way. So if you can go in that direction and rise up with a lot of inner power and really, a strong psychic ability with that square, you're getting all the calls you need, all the signs you need. You have to choose to rise up with that power, with that strength and that belief and that faith, even to visualize where you want to go and what's going to be better in your life. And, I would say Pluto's helping big time with that sextile, go into the space that you need to go into to rise up with the most power and bring that authority out for whatever's going to help you connect to the best sort of week that you can have. So Wednesday's pretty awesome. Come to Thursday, we get the Sun now in exact sextile with the North Node. Venus is approaching Mars for a sextile. So, even though we have this detriment Venus, it's making a lot of really nice aspects. It's great. And the moon's going to come into Sag and start trining over to this energy. So I think by Thursday, we're starting to open a lot of doors. We went deep, kind of. It was the first part of the week was you kind of have to really justify and go deep into your inner space and figure out what you want. What are you going to connect to? What do you want to merge with? Where's your power? Coming to Thursday, it's okay, doors are opening. Doors are opening all over the place. And Saturn in the mix. It definitely makes another sextile triangle to Saturn. It does come with the south node, which the moon likes to be with the south node. So there's definitely some comforting energy when we start exploring new avenues and what we're defining when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our values. What are the new stories? We all have our stories, and that's part of our truth. And I think that we're in a place where you don't have to bring the old story on the adventure anymore. Like if you're going on the journey right now and you're like, man, that old story doesn't really fit into where I'm going. Like, again, the authority to do a different story if you need to, if you're feeling like you're in a place where you're stagnant, because now we get more mutability in the chart. And it's like, you can spread things out as thin as you want, but at the same time, you need to make, like, I would say, like, have the integrity to pick a couple things that you want to put into your life, that you want to put onto the journey, that you want to aim for. And I think that is a positive note. But yeah, definitely exploring connections, exploring sort of a frequency that you feel very Aries about. Like, yep, this is defined. I feel it. I don't really need to think too much about it. I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my heart. This is what feels good. It's all about feeling good about yourself right now. Like, that is what it's about with Aries too. And starting, doing, initiating, pioneering what makes you feel truly you. And it's ego upgrades in a lot of ways. And I know people don't like the word ego. People get really triggered by the ego, but we all have it, and thank God we do, or we would never get anything done. If I didn't have an ego, I would never get on here to do a video for you. You wouldn't even watch videos if you didn't have an ego, because you would have no drive to do anything, just like me if I didn't have one. So a lot of drive is good, and I think we want to drive in the directions that are the most stimulating with the Sun North Node, the connections. We want to be in a truth state. We want to look for information, instinctual information that we can act on. And if we need to switch hats, switch gears, switch lanes, it's a great time to do that for the new adventure. And Saturn's like, again, hey, if you're willing to have the integrity to make the changes on your adventure, I might open you up to a new connection or to a new world here that might actually give you more of a payout, more of a reward. Saturn gives rewards. Believe it or not, Saturn doesn't just hold everybody back forever. Saturn gives you rewards, but you have to earn it. You can't climb the mountain on an elevator. You gotta climb the mountain. And Saturn will give you the payout at the top. Friday, Venus Day. So we're getting Venus really close to Mars here. Sun comes off the sextile to the North Node. And this is where I think we see it's a really nice day, especially with the moon making such nice aspects to Jupiter in Jupiter's sign. Like, this is where we can emotionally open up a lot of doors to something better. Jupiter is trying to give us gifts in Aquarius, but they're unique, weird, and different, and they're limited with Saturn. But if you put those work in and you do those things and you start trying new things on the journey and taking in new, whether it's beliefs or information, I think you start to see things really expand. So Friday is a big expansion day, in my opinion, and we get Uranus and Chiron moving to 9 degrees of Aries and Taurus on the very same time, which was actually on Thursday. So that's a nice upgrade too. 9 is like a very Martian number. So a lot of Martian energy in the chart, a lot of fire as well for Thursday, Friday. What are you putting your energy into? And what are you taking action for? And is it sort of unique? Is it rebellious? Is it pioneering something good for you? Which is definitely subjective. Like, you got to ask yourself, what's best for me? Am I doing the things that I want to? A lot of the energy in the chart is like, are you doing what you want to do? Or are you just defining what somebody else wants you to do? Aries, Aquarius, two very individuated signs that want freedom, that want to do things by themselves. So we do have to do things by himself. And, even Mercury here is at 27, which makes a 9. So more Martian sort of energy, even with our mind. Our mind's kind of like ready. I would say Mercury's ready to get into Aries at this point too. Like, it's like, look, we're ready to understand exactly where we want to go and in that direction. And I just want to go, especially with the North Node being in Gemini and Mercury being the dispositor for that North Node. We're going to be able to make quick changes fast and in a hurry and understand it better when that ingress happens this weekend. And the moon is also going to square off with Neptune and Mercury. So Friday's definitely creative day. It can be super creative, can be super passionate, can be super compassionate as well, especially as we're finishing out this Pisces lunar cycle that we're in. There's still a lot of that sort of fog, sort of dreamy Pisces energy around. It's starting to like burn off though. That fog is definitely burning off, and it's like full fire, full go time as we approach this new moon next week. And I would say this is where you could definitely be feeling a lot of compassion, a lot of channeling, a lot of creativity coming. But it's also a day where you kind of, it's April 2nd too. So April Fool's Day was Thursday, Jupiter Day. How funny. Makes you wonder, like, if the gift is real or not. There was April Fools from the universe. Maybe by Friday you actually have to sort of answer that question, like, was that just a fool? Was I just a fool for not defining what I wanted, for getting lost and getting spelled by something? Ooh. Well, that just came out, so we'll see what happens with that. But Friday's definitely an interesting day for, I think, a lot of creativity. I think that, you can find a lot of magic on Friday, or have a lot of understanding of where that magic's going to go, but you definitely have to be in a place of where you're going to define that magic and make it happen for yourself. Saturday, we're going to get, let's see, 11. Yeah, it looks like Sunday we get the third quarter square with the moon. So the moon's going to be here. It is going to square Chiron. And it will also trine over to Uranus. So Saturday's an interesting day with the moon in detriment in Capricorn. Definitely having us look at responsibilities, look at the things we need to get done. But what do we really want to be responsible for? And I think Uranus making this trine's like, hey, you could be responsible for what your ultimate values are, for the greatest things in life, and go in that direction. This Uranus is actually trining my sun right now, so maybe that's why I'm like, break rules and go do whatever you want. I don't really mean that, but at the same time, if you need to break rules to live a better life, I'm not saying go hurt people, but like, you can switch up the world that you want to live in right now. Like, this is a good time to do it, and you can heal a lot from it too. So I also have Chiron squaring my sun, so maybe I'm trying to help people heal right now too, because I don't feel too beat up from that square, but I want people to grab their empowerment, make changes in their life, and heal their ego. This is a great time to heal your ego. And you know how you heal your ego? By owning it, taking authority for what it wants, and stop letting other people tell you what to do. Ego doesn't want to be told what to do by everybody unless it's constructive and it's respected and it's mutual. Nobody just wants to be told what to do all the time. And that's why I'm not trying to sit here and tell you what to do. But if you're feeling like, wow, I really need something different and something better for myself, the astrology is saying it doesn't get much better, and it'll also heal so many wounds within your own ego of self-doubt, or not feeling empowerment, or not feeling like you can define, or that you have that warrior spirit. This is like major warrior spirit energy, and you got to dig down deep and sort of have that steadfast responsibility for yourself internally to know that if you want to reach the top of your life, of your mountain, whatever it is for you, you have to have that within yourself. That's going to open up all the doors. And if you can't define for yourself, that's where Saturn here in Aquarius is like, you're not going to be able to reinvent something better if you can't take authority for what you actually want as an individual, for your frequency, for what you want, that's going to make your life better, that's going to open up you to the world that you want to live. If you're just going to fall in line and do, trust me, I do a bunch of things that I don't want to do still. They're responsibilities. We all have them. But I have cut out so many in my life that I realized were unnecessary responsibilities, that were like the 10 of Wands that I was just carrying with me every day for what? So Saturday's an interesting day where you could definitely drop a story quick, fast, in a hurry and move into some serious healing. We do have Venus on Ceres. Self-love is so important, especially with, the moon in Capricorn can bring up a lot of guilt too. And squaring Chiron, it can be a heavy day emotionally where you're like, wow, really questioning where you've been or what you've done or beating yourself up for things you didn't do. How about instead of beating yourself up, how about you give yourself some positive reinforcement and nurture and sort of, almost mother yourself in a lot of ways. If you're feeling down this weekend, that's, a powerful thing to do, is to find self-soothing without substance, without other people coming in, like really coming in and being the shoulder that you need for yourself. And I know that could trigger people. I don't know why, but I guess my guys just came in and said, like, people are not going to like to hear that. Well, it's very empowering. It's very important, like self-soothing. So Ceres in a lot of ways represents nurturing, how we take care of ourselves in Aries with Venus. In many ways, we have to be our most solid relationship to ourself. And that's why Taurus comes before Libra, because that relationship with self, the value of self, is more important than the relationship with another person. And honestly, without the value of self and the relationship to self, it's so hard to have a healthy and valued relationship with someone else. So now Aries, the one, individual, you have to take care, and learn to nurture yourself through whatever it is, and to not hold on to guilt that is from the past. That's old karma that honestly that full moon should have kind of helped dissolve. And it's like, are you going to let go of that story? Or are you going to let go of the story? Stop beating yourself up. So Saturday can, be a day where you have to make wild changes to do something better in your life, to do something better for yourself that's, not relying on the outside world, but it's actually coming back and finding that strength and power and nurturing and feel good energy just within yourself. And that's very, very positive. And they're both making a sextile to Mars, applying. So again, more Martian energy. You have to define and take action for what you want right now and make those changes and understand them intellectually, understand them within your heart, within your soul. What do I want to change? What do I want to do? What do I want to be? And stop just doing what you're told. Uranus is like, hey, stop. People are trying to make you feel guilty for nothing. There's so much guilt projection all over the place I'll be honest. I saw an ad on Twitter that was a news story talking about some town in California that over 100 years ago, they did, the town participated in a racist act. And, I don't agree with that. That's terrible. But now they're talking about how that town today has to pay for what it did 150 years ago. Like the people that live in that town right now, probably a ton of them are probably transplants, weren't even there, or definitely weren't there in this physical life, maybe had relatives or ancestors that lived there. These people have to pay. They're just, because they moved to some town, probably didn't even look up the history of the town. They have to pay. That's some forced guilt right there. And that's what a moon in Capricorn can do, is bring up a lot of forced guilt. And I'm not saying if your moon is in Capricorn that you're just always feeling guilty, but, well, there is definitely a possibility of that. So we got to break chains. And Uranus is trying to say, break out of any chains, any guilt, take care of yourself, stop worrying about what other people are saying or doing. This is about you stepping into your individuality, your power, and defining the life that you want. Sunday, the sun's day, Venus is 1 degree away from Mars. I love that sextile. We got so close when Mars was in Pisces, and Venus was in the retrograde period in Gemini last June through July, and they got so close to a sextile, and they just missed. And it happened like twice during that retrograde with a trine and a sextile. And now we get another nice Venus-Mars aspect with slight reception because Venus is in Mars's sign. So again, it's making those changes to feel good and define the relationships and the values in your life, in yourself, and doing those things, and not getting lost in other people's beliefs, not getting lost in what other people are projecting, but really finding your own truth, finding information about what's going to make you feel good and acting on that. And that's going to help you connect. It's going to help you, really feel good about yourself as well. And Ceres is in between the Sun and Venus there. So there's a lot of nurturing that we can do within ourselves this weekend. And we get that moon that's going to make the third quarter square to the Sun and Venus and quincunx Mars. And it's kind of going through a lot there for this square, but I think that overall this is like, okay, are you ready to define? Because Capricorn and Aries can work really well together if they're, trying to accomplish something and get something done. So like, what do you need to get done for yourself that's going to make you feel better, that's going to make you feel like empowered, nurtured, taken care of? And this is like, please release any guilt that you're feeling that you didn't even do. There's so much of that being projected through medias right now. You do not need to feel bad for something you didn't do. And this goes all over the place. So release guilt. Take authority for what you want to start, for what you want to do, and finish this week strong. And that moon's going to sextile Neptune. And Mercury is now in Aries here. So it's like, you're going to understand more, and you need to move in that direction. It's going to take you higher in life and start those things. A lot of Martian energy. It's time to go. What are you going to be responsible for? You should choose what you are going to be responsible for. Those responsibilities do not have to be chosen for you. You are an independent, sovereign being, and you choose. You get to choose what your responsibilities are in your mountain. You're going to take authority for that because you're going to do what makes you feel good. And that's going to be the empowering aspect. And Mercury is going to know it, and it's going to know how to communicate exactly what it wants for you. So I'd say by the end of this week, it's a very powerful week where all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Fucking Brian was right. I need to take authority for the life I want. And you're going to do it. And it's going to feel so good. And I think that it's a powerful sort of a close to the week here, where you really mentally understand what your ego wants, what your ego needs to shine and illuminate fully, to pioneer what you want for your life, to go into that direction with power and steadfast authority, to open new doors and to see that there are beautiful, unique gifts out there with Jupiter at 23 degrees. They're just not what you would expect. And Saturn is such an ally this week, minus a little square to the moon early in the week. But Saturn is such an ally with all the sextiles, the trine to the north node, which it's still doing all week. You have to take authority and connect to the frequency and the environment and the people that are part of your truth. Live your truth. Define it, start the things in life, envision where you want to go. I think that the moon sextile Neptune, like, envision the peak of your mountain at the end of this week. Just envision it and watch what power that can manifest for you as this year moves on. Not even just this day, but as this year moves on. This is a powerful week to set your mind on your finish line, on your goals, what you want to achieve, how you're going to get to the top. And you're going to make that happen for yourself. And I have a bunch of confidence that you're going to do it. Why? I don't know. I'm feeling this Aries energy today, and I'm feeling very, So go live the life you want. Go empower yourself. Open up doors. Connect to the right energies. Make changes in your environment if you need to. Look for facts. What are facts? That's for you to decide. There's a lot of information out there. Everywhere you look, there's plenty of it. What truly resonates? What doesn't? You don't have to take what doesn't resonate. And I definitely want to say again, don't hold on to guilt that is not yours, people. Please. I love you guys. And we are in it's a fresh slate. It's like, it's time to empower ourselves. There's so much nurturing. There's so much feel-good energy in there. So I would hate to see anybody letting somebody else define their life for them right now, because that's not where the healing's at. That's not where you're going to reach the top. That's not where you're going to hit your goals. And it's good to hit goals. It's good to have drive. It's good to have all these things. And the more empowered you are, the more, at least in your truth and looking at what makes sense to you, the better off you're going to be. If you're just listening to people and doing everything you're being told, you know, you might live a great life. I'm not even going to say that you won't, but will you be happy inside? I love you all so much. I know this was a little intense, but it's Aries season and I'm just going to hit it. So I want people to empower themselves. I want you guys to all wake up, grab your authority, and I know most of you guys have it. So if you watch this, I'm sure that you're right there. And I love you very much. Appreciate you, and I will catch you next time. Peace.